Out of the mists and under the shadow of Mount Tahara on the eastern outskirts of Taupo, we bid good afternoon to you from Owen Delaney Park, where today a little bit of rugby history is being made. We're about to witness the first international rugby match at this level ever to be played here in Taupo. And they've come in their thousands from nooks and crannies all over the central North Island for this, their very special day, here to this excellent new rugby facility at Owen Delaney Park, which has only been in use for 4 years, but is reputed to have one of the best playing surfaces in New Zealand. Now this is the lineup for the home team today. King Country, who have enjoyed an excellent season so far this year with wins over both counties and Taranaki, and a little surprising perhaps that coach Noel McQuilkin has made 4 changes from the side that beat Taranaki last week. 20-year-old Dennis Petram comes in at fullback, Hanari Leach, another youngster, is in at halfback, Gary Jeffries returns to the side of the scrum, and big Trevor Stewart with his extra weight comes in at prop. And leading the home side again today, their regular captain, the tall figure from number 8 of Flynn Meads. And for this match today, the Pumas have made only 3 changes from the side which played North Auckland and Whangarei last Sunday, and they're all in the forwards, so it would appear that the Argentinians have more or less firmed up on their test 15 for later in the tour. The huge 124-kilogram lock, Alejandro Iacchetti, a survivor from the 1979 tour of New Zealand, gets his first run today, as does prop Luis Molina and hooker Juan Angelillo. And captaining the side again today from the centres, Marcelo Lafayette. And we'll be back here at Owen Delaney Park in just a moment with the first the match this afternoon, Mr. Lindsay McLaughlin from the Otago Rugby Union. Mr. McLaughlin signals the start of this match, and Rafael Madero, the Argentinian first 5/8, starts the match with the visitors playing from left to right on a very still but cold day here in Taupo this afternoon. There is absolutely no wind. The ground is in perfect condition, and the big match of the year for the King Country Union. So the first line out to take place just 10 metres inside the King Country half. The ball has gone loose at the back of the line out. King Country, who have prepared themselves assiduously for this match. They've had 5 matches so far this season, including 2 good wins, but an infringement in that line out gives the Pumas a chance to post the first points on the board. Daniel Baetti, a long kick, a 45-metre kick. And it's an excellent start by Baetti. He kicked 14 points at Okara Park in Whangarei last Sunday, and he's continuing with that good form in the first minutes of this match. It's 3-0 after 2 minutes. When those guys push, the earth moves. Baetti, slightly misdirected kick. El waiting underneath at the big lock forward for King Country, but it's come back to Pablo Dionisio. It's there for the backs. Madero, he didn't let the ball go much beyond him on Sunday, and this time he's kicking as well. It's a well-directed kick, putting pressure on Petram, the King Country fullback. Just 20 years of age. Brought back into the King Country side today. Dennis Petram playing in only his 6th game for his union. Serafin Dengra behind him. There he is, the big man. 124 kilograms, the blonde-headed figure of Alejandro Iacchetti. They say he's the biggest man in international rugby. That's nearly 20 stone of prime Argentinian beef in the middle of the line-out. Interference by one of those Argentinian forwards in the line-out on a King Country opponent. Defensive penalty here for the home team. Swain kicking to this, the near touch. I don't think he's found it. Waiting underneath it is a Regatini. He made a mess of it. The referee plays advantage here to King Country. May well have been just cold hands there for Marcelo Rigatini on the right wing. It's a very chilly day here in Taupo. Yes, he's looking at his fingers, wishing he had a pair of gloves on, I imagine, at the moment. This could be a problem all day with this enormous weight differential here. King Country team, I think, will have problems just holding their position on the mark. It's there for Swain. He gets it out. To Leach, to Swain, who puts it high in the air. Waiting underneath it is Regatini again. There's a confusion there. As Sconley, the fullback, was there. The ball has gone loose. Good play there by King Country. Argentina, he got caught underneath that high ball. And meanwhile, the touch judge has his flag up for an infringement that he saw. Let's have a look if we can see something from the high ball from the boot of Nigel Swain. It was a very well-positioned bomb because it hung in the air and gave the King Country forwards plenty of time to get there. It was well taken by Argentina. Now, maybe there was over-vigorous use of the boot there that caught the attention of the touch judge. Well, it didn't look anything too harmful, but I suppose in these sensitive days of stomping and rucking, it's a fine line. Marcelo Argentini none the worse for his trampling by the look of it. He has received some medical attention from the penalty awarded to Argentina for that infringement on Argentini. The kick has gone deep, a couple of metres from the King Country line. That was a very good kick indeed. From Andrew James on the left wing for King Country. Yaketti, not only an enormous body weight, but he's also over 2 metres in height. Madero inside his own half, again putting pressure on the King Country backs. Pedham, the fullback, waiting underneath it. He took it well, just inside his 22, but didn't have time to put the ball away into touch. Madero. Lofreda, the Pumas captain, cutting back and joining up with his forwards on the 22. But I don't think they can win it from there. In fact, it's the King Country forwards that have scrambled it free. Goes as far as Nigel Swain. The referee had spotted those Argentinian backs up offside, and so another defensive penalty to King Country. Well, nicely charged down there by Garaton. Swain again with the restart from the 22. We've had about 9 minutes of play in the first half, and the only point so far, a penalty from the boot of Baetti in the first minute. And there was Baetti dropping the ball, but he lost it back rather than forward. And King Country forwards quick to capitalise on it as they make their way inside the Argentinian half. Baetti goes fishing for it, kicking into the box, but it's taken by Simon Bradley. Keeps the ball in play. Madero, now there's a big lineup out to his right here, but he nonetheless continues with this policy of kicking for the corner flag, and that's another superb kick. Judging it to perfection, just a metre short of the line. This is Trevor Stewart, the big burly King Country prop forward, who was brought back into the King Country side today to give the pack an extra dimension of weight. Baetti, Madero, this time they're going to move it, are they? Goes as far as Cuesta Silva. He hesitated as he tried to cut back. The last man there is big Yaketti. He certainly doesn't move with the speed of an express train, but he could be rather useful, for example, in this next phase, a scrum. And this will be the most testing scrum that King Country have put down so far. Just a metre from their line, the big shove coming from these Puma pack forwards. Baetti giving them a bit of help as well. Now he releases it to Madero. But some very good tackling here indeed from King Country. They're nailing these big Pumas. And Lefberg manages to wrestle the ball free. And yes, Pablo Dionisio around too quick. Johnson, tallest member of this King Country pack at number 2 in the line-out. But it's tapped back by Yaketti. Mead breaking through the line-out. The referee playing advantage for the knock-on by Meads. And the Meads presence still all pervasive in the King Country, rather, whether on the field or off the field. There's the father, Colin, chairman of the King Country Rugby Union, watching his son leading the King Country team against Argentina. The long cut-out pass from Cuesta Silva, afraid of the captain, the support there from Mendy. The ball has gone loose, and away comes King Country. This is Coffin having his first run, and making play down the right wing is Bradley. Simon Bradley, he's in the clear. What a great try! Simon Bradley just pinned his ears back, and when he saw that corner flag, there was nothing going to stop him. And the first try of the match to the home team. And this is how it started. After it was the Argentinians that looked promising, but the ball went loose. It was snapped up by little halfback Hanadi Leach. They worked the ball out to second 5'8" big Hutuna Coffin. He's 15 stone, and he unloaded the pass to Simon Bradley, and he had too much pace for the cover defence in the form of Garrett the loose forward, Bradley the winger, sprinting away from the Pumas and scoring 10 metres in from the corner flag. Great try. The try was unconverted by Coffin, but nonetheless, King Country, after 15 minutes of play, lead the Argentinians by 4-3. So the scrum to go down, 12 metres inside the King Country half. Baetti to Madeiro. And he's kicking again, putting pressure on Bradley. He took it well. He's gathered in by Mendy, a couple of metres short of the line. Well, there's nothing terribly spectacular about the tactics of the Argentinians, putting a lot of pressure on the King Country defence, but it hasn't yielded anything yet from the first 20 minutes of this match. And there's one of the more attacking players in the Argentinian backline, Cuesta Silva, but he hasn't seen much of the ball so far. From the scrum, Gustavo Milano, but he's lost control of it at the back. And away comes Coffin again, and a nice pass to Glyn Meads. Stepped out of one tackle, looking for some support. Up to the 10-metre line goes Glyn Meads. He appeared to lose it forward in the tackle. But a very clever run there from Glyn Meads as he sidestepped out of one tackle and set off up the field on a 40-metre run. 18 minutes of play in the first half as the scrum goes down. There's nothing wrong with that Argentinian scrum again today, but they're not really doing much with all this ball at the winning. Again, they've lost it forward. This is Clary Iti. Up over halfway goes Iti. This is great stuff here, and it's Meads on the break again, looking for some support. And away goes Bradley, but the pass was forward. He was thinking about a second try there, Simon Bradley. And lying on the field is Luis Molina, about 50 metres back down the paddock. It's getting a rather gloomy day here in football, but it's calm and still. No rain, no wind, and a perfect playing surface. And a hand in that ruck by one of those Argentinian forwards. It was Gustavo Milano, and a penalty goes to King Country inside the Pumas half. Beyond the goal-kicking range of Hutana Coffin, and so Swain will kick the chuck, but he hasn't found it. Sconley waits underneath it, but he's made a mess of it. Now the referee playing advantage here to King Country. Snapped up by Trevor Stewart, and probing down the short side goes Leach. Andrew James has lost it a couple of metres short of the line. He lost it forward, but again it's King Country that are making all the running. And apart from the scrums, the Argentinian effort has been totally bankrupt. They've shown us nothing at all. And it's the King Country side that have been far more creative and enterprising in their rugby in the first 25 minutes of this match and deserve to lead by 4 points to 3. And a free kick awarded to Argentina for some incorrect binding there by the King Country front row. Madeiro decides to kick for touch and has found it. The delightfully hirsute figure of Serafin Dengra, this 100-kilogram prop. In fact, all but the two flankers in the Argentinian pack today weigh in at least 100 kilograms. Glenn Meade's been penalised for holding at the back of the line-out, and meanwhile there's been an injury to one of the Argentinian players. And let's have a look at Glenn Meade, who's number 7 in the line-out here, because it's he that's been penalised. He goes across, and there he is, boom, a real round the house, how's your father that time, from Glenn Meade's, right into the face of Gustavo Milano, and he was really lucky that he wasn't at least sent into the sin bin for that offence. That's a black mark against the King Country captain, Glenn Meade's. So this is a very sad moment for Gustavo Milano, who has been literally knocked out of this match by Glenn Meade's. Meade's, I suspect, might argue that he was being held by Milano, but there was no excuse for the retaliation that Meade's imposed on Milano, and the big Puma number 8 being carried off the field on a stretcher. Boapsi, this is Pablo Boapsi, one of the younger and less experienced members of the Argentinian pack today. Off the back, that's the new man Uriarte, who's on for Milano, wearing number 18. As the Argentinian forwards this time with a bit of steam and fire in their belly roll the King Country pack back inside their own 22, out in centre field. Now it's free for Paeti. Madero trying to kick in behind those King Country backs, and confusion there between James and Perrin, the fullback. And the King Country just a little lucky to escape there. There was misunderstanding between the fullback and the winger, but the bounce was kind for King Country. The restart by Clary Iti, and King Country perhaps a little unlucky not to get a penalty there for interference on Iti as he was trying to restart play. Hasn't found touch, and Swain retires to the safety of his own 22. A typically chilly midwinter's day here in the central region of the North Island, but nonetheless an immensely enjoyable one for the rugby folk of Taupo and the outlying districts. The first time ever an international match has been played here in this part of the country. Grant Lefberg looking for it, but ball just rolling away from him, bouncing away from him. As the King Country forwards attempt to start the rolling maul here, and Clary Iti gets there. There he is, number 7, chosen for the New Zealand Maoris after the Prince of Wales match earlier this year. And well done, King Country. They rolled them back 10 metres, and rightly so. The referee has given the loose head to King Country. The King Country scrum holding up better now than it did in the first 10 minutes of the match. Skolny under pressure, 10 metres from his own line, calls for the catch. The King Country forwards have him. Now this is the best opportunity King Country have had in the match. And another penalty against the Argentinians. They really do have to do something about their discipline. They give away an endless chain of penalties. I think it was 23, the final count against North Auckland on Sunday. And as we approach the halfway stage of this match, I suspect it's up around the 10 or 12 mark already. So Hutana Coppin with the half-time just a couple of minutes away, trying to extend the lead of the home team. And he's been in very good kicking form for his team this year. In fact, has scored over half his side's points from their 5 representative matches so far this season. This to make it 7-3. Just a little out to the left. Bad luck there for Coffin. So he hasn't had much luck with his kicking today. 2 shots at goal, and he's been astray with both of them. Madero with the deep restart. Pedram having to run back. Swain is there as well. First 5-8 takes it 10 metres outside his 22, keeps the ball in play. Paeti was back there and took the kick. Swain trying to run that ball into touch, but Madero was there, and this kicking duel continues, and Madero hasn't been able to find touch. Now Pedram, the King Country fullback, from inside his 22, and he too has seen the ball screw off the side of his boot and finishes up in the field of play. Cuesta Silva gives it to the big lock forward, Boapsi. on the King Country 10-metre line. But again, it's the King Country forwards who've scavenged the ball away from the Pumas. Sconley waiting underneath it, and that was a brave take from the little fullback. He had the entire King Country pack bearing down on him. And away goes Lethberg, up to the 22. King Country in a rampant mood here, and they could be dangerous if they can win it from here. It's fed out on the short side to Meads, chipping for Coppin, picked up by Bradley, and oh, he lost his footing. He had recovered, but he'd stepped into touch. He really is disappointed. He knew that if he hadn't lost his footing there most certainly would have been another try. A clever little grubber kick here from Glyn Meads set this promising move up for King Country, and the bounce was kind to Bradley, and he just lost his footing 5 metres short of the line. Bad luck, but another chance here. Big Hutana Coffin, all 15 stone of him, but lost it forward. Now, just 2 minutes of play remaining in the first half, and our King Country would dearly love to nail down another try in this first half. They have a 1-point lead at the moment, and they certainly deserve it. Madero from inside is this very deep in-goal area here at the Owen Delaney Park. Ball must have come off the King Country player before it went into touch from that kick of Madero's. And yes, he obviously got a little bit of artificial help for that extraordinary high leap, did Yaketti. In fact, I don't think that's the first time today he's had a little bit of help on the line outside there, but he got caught that time, picked up by the referee, and another opportunity here for Coffin. An anxious looking Colin Meads looking at Hutana Coffin here with another shot at goal from not a terribly difficult angle, just a little 30-metre kick. The chip from Coffin, and again he's put it wide. That's 3 misses from 3, and none of them have been really difficult kicks for Coffin. He'd be disappointed about that phase of his play, but overall King Country must be very pleased with the sight on the scoreboard at half-time. They lead the Argentinians by 4-3, scoring the only try of the match in the 15th minute from Simon Bradley, and we'll be back with the second half in just a moment. And welcome back to the Owen Delaney Park. Here to top off for the second half of this international match between Argentina and King Country, with the home team ahead by 4 points to 3. The only scoring in that first spell was a penalty in the very first minute by Etty. We'll get it right yet, the little halfback, there he is. And 15 minutes later, King Country replied with a thrilling try from Simon Bradley. Grant Lethberg at the front of the line up there for King Country, but another nice take from Glyn Meads, using all of his 6 feet 6 inches in height to pull down the ball. Here's the call you can hear from Henari Leach. He wants his forwards to drive it. It's a pretty tough assignment against these big fellows, but they've done extremely well today as the very light King Country pack. Henari Leach having difficulty clearing it and fumbled the ball as well. And look at that, a tight head to King Country. Great start by King Country in the second half and putting early pressure on the Argentinians as well, but Sconley again safe under the high ball, 10 metres out from his own line. Now the Argentinians decide they must run it. This is an unusual change of tactics, running it from inside their own 22. Away up over halfway goes Mendy. The ball has been lost forward. Back there is Madero. Tries to keep the ball in play. Dionisio. The pass was forward. Well, how strange. The Pumas, who have kicked all day, and Madero, there he is at first 5'8". He hasn't let the ball go beyond him once. And then suddenly, from out underneath his own goalposts, they decide to run the ball. Swain, he has to work fast to get his kick away, but he hasn't found touch. as Argentina keeping the ball in play, pushing it out into the centre. Now there's a big lineup of maroon jerseys here. If they can move it wide, here's Bradley off again. The path wasn't the best, and so he had to check his momentum, but did the wise thing there and kept the ball up ahead of the players with the little grubber kick and made 40 metres. And Skolny and Bradley having a little skirmish in touch. Eight minutes of play in the second half, and no change to the half-time score, with King Country still hanging on to that slender 1-point lead. Baeti, he's in trouble, wrapped up by those King Country forwards inside his own 22. Well recovered nonetheless by those Argentinian forwards, and Baeti coming away with it over the 22 this time. Mendy playing halfback to Dionisio. Pablo Dionisio had a good game against North Auckland and Whangarei, not quite so prominent today. Now they're moving it again. The quick hands, Skolny up from fullback. Regentini gets out of one tackle. This is Marcelo Regentini giving chase, and Swain scampering back there, as is Andrew James. And there's no doubt about it that when the Pumas want to move the ball, they look a far more lethal side than they do when it's just kick and chase. They really do have some fast men in their backs, particularly on the wing with the Regentini and Mendy. So the Pumas right on the King Country line, but it's big Russell L, 2.1 metres of him, that leapt high and got the ball. Lefberg coming away round the front of that maul and taken into touch. The line out again, just a metre from the King Country line. As Agnolillo waits for the instruction from his halfback. Uriarte looking for it at the back of the line-out, but it comes back to Henari Leach, and he gets his kick away, just taking some of the pressure off the King Country side. A very good game today, playing in only his 10th game for King Country, this young 20-year-old Henari Leach. 10 minutes into the second spell as we watch Juan Angelio Iachetti with the tap. And the Argentinian forwards go in and charging, driving towards the line. They're 10 metres away, however. They do get the loose head. Baeti with Uriarte controlling at the back. This is better scrummaging from the Argentinians, getting more value for their vast weight advantage here. And the referee playing advantage because surely Lefberg must be offside. In fact, a penalty try. We'll have a look at that, but the referee, Mr. McLaughlin, has awarded a penalty try to the Pumas, and so they take the lead again, their first try of the match. Now, there was some interference there by Lefberg. There is the balling figure out to the right. Now, just watch as he comes back into the play here. He's clearly offside. There he goes in, interfering with Baeti. And the referee holding up his arm to play advantage there to see if the try was scored anyway. And when it wasn't, I think he pointed the finger at Lefberg and said penalty try. And so the Pumas take a 5-point lead at 9-4, 10 minutes into the second spell as a result of that penalty try. They've got to heal it quickly, and the sheer weight of the Pumas giving them another strike against the head. Mendy on the left wing keeping the ball in play. And confusion in the midfield there. It's eventually Peter Coffin at centre that takes the ball on the 10-metre line. Baeti looking for it again. Dengra's there as well. Now it's freed for Baeti. Kicking for the corner flag. Perham, a couple of metres from his own line, keeps the ball in play. The Argentinians have reverted to the short lineup. The first time we've seen this on this tour so far. With Yaketti, Garaton and Uriarte comprising their three men. Madero putting the ball high again up towards the post. Perum going underneath it, but it's the Pumas that have it. Baeti. Now he took the wrong option there, Baeti. He should have released the ball rather than going on his own. He had a line-up out to the left here. And just look at that awful maul of the Argentinians, and particularly Yaketti. He's adopted a position which is absolutely useless. Baeti to Lafredo, to Madero, and he drops for goal. So still nothing terribly expensive about the rugby of the Pumas this afternoon. Once or twice in the second half they've been prepared to let the ball go along the backs, but even from a very good attacking position like that, they were happy to go for the drop goal. It failed, and the score remains 9-4 nonetheless to the Pumas. Jeffries, Lethberg, Martin Johnson behind him, the Englishman from Leicester. Glenn Meads, the King Country captain. More ball for King Country. Fumbled by Leach, but the referee, I think, was unsighted. That's the halfway mark. Jeffries standing out there in the backs, carried on by Russell Elv. Now the Pumas have it over halfway. Garaton. And can he squeeze it back for Baeti? Madero. Sconley up from fullback. Nicely timed pass to Rigatini. He's got pace, this man. We've seen it once or twice from him so far in the match. And the cover defence in the form of Swain having to scamper back. So midway through the second half of this match, and the only scoring in the second half has been a penalty try to the Pumas, which has given them the lead at 9-4. This King Country team really taking it to the Argentinians. There's been no let-up, no yielding of their result since this match has started. Snapped up there by Baeti. Good support play, however, from Glenn Meads. Utana Coppin in a bit of problem there with his hands, but again it's fed to Bradley. There's room for Bradley down the right wing. Now the chase is on. Bradley, he's got pace. Simon Bradley. A suggestion that he might have been interfered with there. He is chasing the ball, and he's signalling to the referee, that pointing to the player that interfered with him. But the referee has said no, we'll have the line out. Now suddenly out of nothing here, with the King Country defence looking to be at 6s and 7s, the ball was moved quickly out to Bradley, and there was a big gap. There was acres of room for him down the right-hand side, and he ran 30 metres, put the little kick ahead. Now look at Sconley, number 15, as Bradley's going for the ball. He certainly put an arm across the body of Bradley as he recovered the ball and put it away under touch, and the referee has allowed that to continue. So the throats of the 6,000 or 7,000 fans here at the Owen Delaney Park giving plenty of vocal support now to the King Country side in the last 10 minutes of this match. A converted try, of course, and they're back in front. And it's there in the arms of Paul Mitchell. Now he frees it as far as Coffin as he tries to smash his way through the Argentinian defence, but the King Country forwards there. It's again there for the little halfback Leach as he kicking over the top, but Denicio's there, took it well. Now the Argentinian forwards have it as they regroup. Dengra releases it to Baetti. And Daniel Baetti relieving the pressure. There he is, this 33-year-old. He's the oldest member of the Pumas. Played 5 times for them back in the early 1980s as a fullback and then was dropped, but was recalled to the Argentinian side when the new coach, Rodolfo Arali, was appointed after their World Cup failures. Just 11 minutes of the match remaining, and this is very dark now here in Taupo. In fact, I imagine many folk here in the stand probably would not be able to recognise any of the players across the far side. Uriarte, the Englishman, Martin Johnson, and the experienced figure of Grant Lethberg. Good take by Russell L, short on the line out. Certainly the King Country pack have performed admirably today. They've got a parity of possession in the lineouts and in the rucks and mauls. In fact, they've probably had the better of those in many ways. It's only really been in the scrums that they've had a few problems. Lethberg took it well on halfway. Now the Pumas defences are all over the place here at the moment. In go those King Country forwards. They know they only need another try for a historic win here this afternoon. A little dummy there from Nigel Swain, picked up by the cover defence midway, 22 and halfway. It's coming back on the Pumas side. A bad pass from Baetti now. Madeiro's in trouble. Gets away from one, but Russell L wraps him up 10 metres outside the 22. Baetti to Madeiro. Hasn't found touch. Bradley, who's had a super game on the right wing. And again, a tricky little play there from Bradley. Keeps the ball alive. Up towards the 22. Got out of the tackle there of Lafredo. Killing the ball. King Country forwards have been penalised. It was, in fact, Gary Jeffries, who the referee is pointing at, number 6, as he retires. Among the many politicians who are here this afternoon is the leader of the opposition, Mr. Jim Bolger, who had a bit of a scare getting here today when his car skidded off the road in the icy conditions on his way from Napier. But he's fit and fine, along with Roger McClay, the local MP, thoroughly enjoying this performance of the King Country team today. Mitchell with the throw in, it's deep at the back, looking for Glenn Meads. But it's picked up by Dionisio as the Argentinian forwards roll over the top. But coming away with it, this slim little first by 8, Nigel Swain, scampering away from those big Argentinian forwards, putting the ball into touch on the floor. Eight minutes of the match remaining. The only scoring in the second half has been a penalty try, which has seen the lead switch from King Country to the Pumas, who are ahead by 9-4. Mararo kicking again out towards the open. Rigatini giving chase, but the ball, I think, had been knocked forward, yes, by one of those Argentinian players going high for the ball from the kick by Madeiro. Marcelo Rigatini probably was that knocked it forward. Again, the King Country scrum with a few problems, but they do clear it quickly, which is what you have to do when you're giving away a big weight advantage. You can't afford to hold the ball in the scrum at all, and that's exactly what the King Country pack have been doing all day, striking quickly and clearing it very efficiently to this snappy little halfback, Tanari Leach. Iachetti again trying to tap the ball back. Hand in that ruck. Penalty awarded to Argentina. The last man up is Trevor Stewart, another one of the members from the Waitete Club. As Madeiro, from a narrow angle, kicks for touch into the gloom and the mist, which is now shrouding this reserve here on the eastern outskirts of Taupo. We're about 6 or 7 kilometres to the east of the township of Taupo. Another chance here for King Country. Tuna Coffin kicking the ball, but he's pushed it straight at the Argentinian fullback Skolny. And we might have a look at that replay, because there was a suggestion that Skolny may well have had a foot over the 22 when he kicked the touch. And now he took the ball virtually on the 22, retired back to the safety of it. And yes, he was outside the 22 technically when he kicked the touch. So 5 minutes of this match remaining. King Country must score a try, or I guess 2 penalties or 2 drop goals, but I suspect it's a try that they're looking for. Coffin couldn't get his kick away. The ball has gone loose. Perham comes in from fullback, still inside the Argentinian half. And King Country trying to keep the pressure on the Pumas. The Pumas in turn moving the ball wide to Lafredo, the captain. I think they just wish to hang on now and maintain their 5-point lead and give themselves another win. Mitchell again, the tap from Meads, but Uriarte goes after it, but it's eventually come back on the King Country side on their own 10-metre line. As away goes Jeffries, Leach, the little dummy, to Peter Coffin, to his brother Hutana. Glenn Meads setting up the charge for King Country as his forwards get in behind him. Going forward, they have the loose head inside the Argentina half. 3 minutes of the match remaining. So what will the King Country backs do here? They've got a useful blind to work with if they want to. They're inside the Argentinian half, but they've got to win it first. And that's been their problem increasingly in the second half as they've started to tire, not unnaturally. And the Argentinians have been able to win a number of their loose head put-ins. However, they get another one. Scrum on halfway. And the Argentinians now winning virtually every scrum buck. Went beyond the 90 degrees. Leach feeding the scrum. Can he win it this time? Yes, I think it's there. Clears it quickly, but there's a little bit of confusion in the midfield. Then the long pass out to Andrew James. He took it well. Coffin to Swain. And Swain gets his kick away, but I think it's too deep. Country might be better off to move the ball. They have shown that they've got a bit of pace out there on the wings, particularly with Bradley. Into the last minute of the match. The Pumas are hit by 9 points to 4. Penalty and a penalty try has been their only reward from this match today, but it might be enough to give them a win. Grant Lefberg has other ideas as away come the King Country forwards again. Yaketi tries to arrest their progress, and they win it and they move it wide. Lafreda. And there's a big fight going on the near side. That's what the crowd are looking. This is extraordinary dual theatre going on here at the moment. There's about 12 of them involved. And look at them. It's like a real brawl going on here. And as the barroom brawl continues, the referee, I think, does the wisest thing and decides to call full time as he runs over and decides to talk to Glenn Meads, who was involved in that. As were most of the forwards from both sides, but I guess one of the beauties of the game is that even from a brawl like that, when the whistle goes, you still can shake hands with your opponents as you leave the field.